Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I figured I'd do a therapy session. It's literally 3 a.m. and I feel really good. Probably went to sleep too early, so that's why I'm up. I want to shout out everybody who's commenting in the comment sections. It's not something that I ask people to do. And it's the reason why is because I really don't go in there too often. You know, I grew up in a world in Hollywood where I watched what fame did to people. I watched what paying attention to, the wide world of trolls, I guess you can say, what it did to them. I watched it. And when you're that close, you can see exactly what it does to people. Large amounts of fame, small amounts of fame, depending on the type of mind. Maybe they can handle what comes their way, maybe they can't. Growing up the way that I did, I knew myself, or at least I believed I knew my threshold for certain things, and I just try to stay away from certain types of criticism. Now, some may say, why are you trying to be a public figure if you're trying to stay away from criticism? How are you going to make your situation grow if you don't interact with people? Well, what I've learned is those who are usually successful are those who can effectively ignore the noise and the trolls and continue to do what it is they do. Those who react to the comment section tend, in my opinion, if they don't have a strong enough mind to keep going, they usually end up having their content affected by what it is they see. Now, a lot of times that's important because people will give you pointers that you want to see, and that's what I've been learning. I expect to see people, trolls and people saying all kinds of bad stuff, and I'm getting a whole lot of love in the comment sections when I do get the courage to click on there and see you guys. So I guess for myself, the reason why I do therapy sessions is to heal of the mind and expose the truth about strengths and weaknesses, talents and failures, and just capture my living essence in the moment for whatever it's worth, and just let it be what it's going to be. And so when I make these therapy sessions, I hope to heal to get to a point where I can interact with everybody in such a way where my mind can take on whatever energy it is and still be at peace and still be able to move on and continue doing what I'm doing the way that I'm doing it. And granted, I think I have a pretty strong threshold for certain things because of how I grew up taking on the type of energy that I took on. It kind of gave me an understanding of what type of energy I want to receive. And sometimes you can't control that when you're dealing with the worldwide public. Plus, to be honest with you, a lot of what I do is for myself. Even though I talk about things that apply to other people and intend on being helpful, I think for more of what I do, I think is inward. A lot of my own satisfaction is brought about by being able to speak the way I do and communicate about different topics that are important to me. So I just want to express my appreciation at the start of this video for everyone who particularly comments. And if you don't see me in the comment section, it's because I'm still working on protecting my peace in such a way to be able to really take on everything and still be exactly the way that I am. I just don't want it to affect me if I see the wrong thing, start getting to a point where you start letting things either get to you or you start letting things affect you in a way that takes away from what it is that you're trying to do. So as I grow as a person, I will be looking inward to be able to continue on the path of having that courage to check on them comment sections and continue to give you guys interactions and feedback to let this thing grow and to express to you guys in that form that you are welcome, that you are appreciated, and all of that good stuff. So I just want to let everybody know that you are, even if I don't check on the comments, they are still very much appreciated, and I'm going to continue to provide content for you. So that's what I want to say. I'm going to make that happen. So also, just to continue the therapy sessions, segueing into something else, and this is not at all a thought that I'm thinking out. I'm just continuing to speak as I always do. It's all freestyle, but yesterday I went through another one of those incredibly embarrassing crypto losses, and I did not want to tell you guys about it because I've had so many of those embarrassing things that have happened in such a short amount of time that it's like eventually you just understand that it's no one's fault but mine. I don't look at this as anyone's fault. I just jumped out of something before it took off again. And look, this is the sad part about it, or funny, depending on how you're looking at it. The only reason why I was in the crypto I was in is because I hopped out of the one that I was believing in a little too early. And when I sold that, I bought into this, and it didn't do anything at all. It just kind of went flat. But I learned about it, read about it, and learned to really appreciate what the company was, so I held on to it. Well, yesterday it took off. It went up 90%. I jumped out of it when it went up only about 7%. I shit you not. I sold some when it started to pop because I feel like, oh, it's getting that one little pop that it only does once a month, that the chart's showing me it only does once a month. Let me try to snatch some profits. Okay, snatch about $100. Fair. Ooh, that thing just jumped up serious. I know it ain't going to take off because it never does. It literally never does anything. What it does is it pops around 8:30 every single night. Well, this was earlier in the daytime, so I should have known this wasn't the same pop. But I'm like, you know what? This thing doesn't move very much. I'll just buy back in when it tanks back down. I can use the profit. Obviously, with what I got going on, I had to drop, $300 on the phone yesterday. So needless to say, I could use the money. Well, I jumped out too soon, didn't play it smart like I never do. And that thing kept going and going and going and going. And the sad thing is, I didn't stick around to see how far it went. I stopped looking. It became a situation where I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is good for my mental health, because I've gotten to a point in my mind where I'm not chasing. Meaning, once it takes off, I'm certainly not putting money back in. I'm not doing that. I've made that mistake enough times in my life. And the fortunate thing about it is this a loss? No. To be honest with you, I made probably about $10, $20 doing it. Like, it's not, I didn't sell it a loss, which was a really, really positive thing, because at any other given time, I would have probably sold out of that thing at a loss 2-3 weeks ago, just out of frustration. But because I waited it out, I was able to get my money back. So if I'm going to look at the bright side, that's a bright side. But when you consider my financial situation and what we've talked about in these cameras, and you understand that I had a good substantial amount in there, then you understand how much profit I left on the table. And it ain't pretty. It is not pretty. So that is what it was. I didn't want to tell you guys that I did that again. I did it again. I cost myself some money. And it's just one of those situations where I didn't feel like it was anybody's fault at all. You know, this is one of those situations where you could blame this person, blame that person. You can look at situations all. It's not that. It's just bad trading. Literally, it's just not reading charts, not knowing what you're doing, and guessing. And when you guess in regards to your money, you usually find yourself on the wrong end of the stick. And because I've operated this way, that happens to me a lot. So it's not bad luck. And what I want to share with you guys is that I'm expressing that because it's important to know the difference. Because a lot of times we will find ourselves 7 or 8 steps removed from a mistake and won't remember the mistake we made, and we'll blame everyone but the person inside who did it. And then from there, you start being confused as to how it is to get what you want. And I think that's where I've come here today, is because not only did I snatch my money out of what I had it in, I snatched my money out of crypto.com. I just snatched it out. I was like, you know what? I've had such grueling luck with crypto lately that I kind of just don't want to play around with it right now. You know, it was one of those situations where after a whole year of toying with crypto and having this happen about 4 times or 3 or 4 times in like a matter of 5 months, you just get frustrated to a point where you know that you, personally, myself, should have never had your money in there in the first place. And if you follow me well enough, I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm an AMC ape, man. And the only reason why I even had crypto is because I was trying to diversify some money to give myself opportunities to have multiple pots. Multiple investments, basically. But here's the problem with that. I'm an AMC ape, and I'm not supposed to have, when I say supposed, meaning my own rules, not following anybody else's. I'm not supposed to have my money wrapped up in just about anything else. For the commitment and basically the pledge that I'm supposed to be living for, your money's supposed to be where it's supposed to be. Now, granted, the only reason why I did that the way that I've done it is because I've learned that doesn't really work for me. Diversifying is the way for me to go, if done correctly. But that particular money that was in crypto, that money was taken out of AMC so that I could have another set of dollars to pour back into AMC. But if I can't make that money make any money, then I know that at some point in time it's time to just get back to the essence of what you're doing. Because I've been lucky as it pertains to crypto in terms of not losing all of my money. Terra Luna took a good $500 of it. That right there could have been the moment where I said, you know what? That's when I should save my money. But no, not me. I went and threw another couple dollars in there. And it was at risk. And it decreased. And it came back. And when it came back, even though I made a horrible decision in getting it back, it made me realize that was a blessing. I didn't even have to come back. That was a blessing. I didn't even have to have my money retained. That thing could have split down to $10,000 as crypto did, or didn't do, but could have done. It went to 17, but it could have went all the way to 10 and shot all of our altcoins to the ground. Listening to people having me pulling out my money and stuff like that, it has led me nowhere. Nowhere. What gave me the amount of money I had to even mess around was keeping it in AMC and ultimately letting it balloon to where it was. That's where my money belongs. I'm not telling you what your money should be doing. Absolutely not. I'm telling you, for the pledge that I've made and for what it is I'm supposed to be living for, I wasn't living right. And if you're a spiritual person, and you're a person who believes you're doing something for a purpose, you've prayed about what you're doing, and you haven't obeyed what it is that your heart is telling you should be doing, you may come up with the results that I find here. You may end up feeling like the choices you made or why those things haven't worked. Not necessarily just the happenstance of you making wrong things and wrong choices, but the spirit of you not doing things correctly is why maybe, just maybe, you, as in myself, keep stepping on the success before it comes about. Subconsciously, I think I'm failing because I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'm not looking at it right, but when your own choices hop you in and out of situations right at the exact time before you need to be there, and you have that happen to you enough times, you start thinking the universe is working against you. And that's exactly how I feel as of late as it pertains to profit taking. Now, getting my money back, keeping my money from being lost, I've been given so much fortune. But in terms of actually receiving any success, I have effectively avoided success as good as any human being could time anything. I am not kidding. It is uncanny how I've managed to jump out of situations exactly when they're about to take off. It's a cruel truth that I've lived that has been no one's fault, but it has occurred. And because I'm a read the signs kind of guy, a pay attention to the signs kind of guy, a listen to that voice in my head kind of guy, I really legitimately read into that kind of stuff a certain way. I really do. And so at this point, I'm like, all right, I need to put my money back where it belongs and stop toying around. That's legitimately what I'm telling myself. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to take all that crypto money that I was screwing around with. I'm going to put it back where it belongs in a really, really, really effective way, meaning DCAN, which is a big problem for my brain. DCA means dollar cost average. I like to toss everything in, and it's like saying I like to travel in basketball. Just good luck for you. So I'm trying to change those ways, and I'm going to take what I have and I'm dollar cost averaging into the thing that I know I belong in, into the thing that I've been fighting tooth and nail to keep going. Everything that I've sacrificed everything for since January of 2021, a couple days after my wonderful niece passed away. That is what I'm about. It really is, man. It's what I'm hearing. Not what I'm hearing, it's what I'm here to do right now. Besides everything that I'm passionate about in this camera, it's very much a part of holding on to these damn shares and seeing what comes about for not only myself but for everybody who's a part of this thing. That is why my money should have never been pulled out of there, because I made a pledge to hold a line. I made a pledge to make sacrifices to the detriment of my own profits. That is what this is about. I'm not supposed to be seeking out money in other areas as it pertains to what it is that I've told myself I was doing. And I let greed and desperation and fear and mental health issues put me in a position to make bad time decisions that were ill-advised and ultimately against my very own movement. I don't blame nobody for what it is that I was doing. I just believe that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. So, that concludes that aspect of the situation. I have confessed that I made that mistake again for the world to know. And listen, do your due diligence. Don't jump in and out without reading the charts. If you didn't take nothing from me, take from me that I'm not as thorough as I would like to be. If you don't take nothing else, just take from me what not to do in that situation. Please do what it is that comes naturally to you and take care of your money. Because for me, I have a difficult time being conservative from where I'm sitting. I can't bring myself not to take chances. So that is the situation there. All right, let's segue out of that. Next thing I want to talk about, honestly, you guys, I'm just getting to a point where I think I'm tired of my current living situation. And it's not that I don't like living in this apartment. Obviously, I'm fine. But I think I've just reached a certain point where I've become a little restless, I think. And I think that's a natural thing when you're in what I'm in, this AMC thing, you're waiting for it, blah, blah, blah. You heard the spiel. But I think for me, there's just certain times in this life where you just get a little more restless within your weight. And I think that's kind of what this last couple of days have been. I've just been a little more restless. The edge of being on edge in regards to everything finances wise is just the usual, and it reaches its peak when certain pressures are placed. Obviously, the phone thing, the living thing, as I told you guys what's going on with that, and everything that's going on with crypto. It's just a lot of stuff that just makes you feel frustrated, and I'm thinking too much about money and not enough about just ultimately other things that really, really need to work around here. So that's what ultimately is frustrating me a little, is just how restless I feel this week versus last week, which it wasn't bothering me, or the week before, which I was fine. It's just part of living. You get to a point in your life where you're like, all right, we're still doing this. We're still in this space where things are going this way. I guess that's where I'm at. And you look at that crypto stuff, you're like, damn, we're still doing this. Look at the phone thing, like, damn, I'm still having issues in this way. I guess for me, when I started what I was starting back in January, I felt that I would be out of this situation. I thought that my bills would be paid. I thought that I would be able to at least be able to take care of certain things in my life that are basic. You know what I mean? And I'm still in a space where I'm sacrificing. Never mind why that is. Never mind whose fault that is. It's just the fact that we're in that space. And, it has its moments where it's not as fun as it can be. So I'm looking forward to being able to just kind of getting out of this little lull and getting back to the normal, because we're in a long wait, man. This is not something that could end right now. We might not be all that close, so at this point it's like I've gone through this feeling a million times in the process of 2 years. So it's just one of those moments. I get through it like I always do. But that's the beauty of being from humble means and not leaving those humble means. I pay attention to a lot of people who exit poverty, who exit, difficult times. They look back on them times and say, we're not broke no more, we're not going through this anymore. There's a certain experience that comes with staying in that space for longer than anyone else, or just not ever getting out of it. You stay in poverty. I think I have a weird lane that I'm trying to carve into, to where not necessarily that I'll stay broke. I don't want to stay broke, but I would like people to see this experience. I would like people to have a look into a different type of way of looking at somebody who may have a little fame. Because a lot of times we see fame and we equate it with success. So what people who are famous have to do a lot of times is pretend like they still have the money coming in, as opposed to being in a lane where they can have their fans and the people that pay attention to them see them go through what they go through and be close to them as they do. It's like you get this fantasy land that being famous means that everything is going to work out forever, or chasing fame means that you're going to be confident and always fake it till you make it. And that's just not everybody. Like I said, growing up in Hollywood, you see people who got a little bit of fame, lost it all, never get it back. People who chase fame for 25 years and finally get it overnight. Like, you see so much of this type of stuff in my life till it's like, you just want your own lane. You don't want to follow the path that everybody else is on, because you don't necessarily appreciate kind of how those paths lead. I want my own path. I think it's what I've learned. I want my own lane that no one else is in. I want to do it my own way. And, just like I handle crypto, whether it works or not, I want to do it my way. You know what I mean? And because I do it my way, I think I'll get very, very, very unique results that are specific only to myself. And I'm very, very intent on seeing what that looks like. So that's what I'm about. That's why I come to you guys so often from this place where I don't have a whole lot. It's because it's a lane I'm trying to create. I want you guys to know me now. I want you to know me later. And I want you to know me whenever things get back to wherever it's going to be. If for some reason it goes full circle, I want to be able to have documented all of it, because I believe in time equity. Meaning a poor man, a rich man, they all have something to give you within the time they're here. And because they are an expiring entity, we got to capture whatever that life essence is, whether it's luxury, poverty, anything in between, boredom, charisma. There is a place to capture a place. There is a world where you should be able to either be seen or not seen as much as you want to be seen. I think if you want your life essence to be captured in this world, we're in a world where you can do that whether you have anything to offer or not. So I think that for myself, taking advantage of that is the benefit to being alive right now. It's what I can do. It's what I can control. It's the power I have. You can use your voice to reach people who can do things that you can't do. That's power. It's not just money. It's not just, being able to sway people in ways that manipulate them. No, it's about truly believing that there's power in words, and whether you know who's on the other end or not, those words are going to get where they need to go. And people just talk about their declarations or affirmations, things that they say, that they speak into world, speak into life. Well, that's exactly what this is. Whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm hoping to provide a sense of good energy for it, essence for it, so to speak, and affirmations for it. So I think a lot of times people who make content these days are looking at who's paying attention to them. How many people are watching? But we live in a world where the numbers are fudged. We live in a world where you may not even see all your numbers. We live in a world where people are controlling some of the things that matter based on ad revenue. It's a business. And while I'm a part of that business based on me providing content, I'm approaching it from a different point of view because I'm not looking to entertain necessarily or provide for others or not. I'm doing for me. And if they happen to like it, then it could be beneficial to everybody. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. But when you become intent on only entertaining others and you forget to provide the essence of what you are to the situation, or you only want to give people what it is that they need to have so that the numbers can be up, you saturate others, the meat and potatoes, I guess you could say, or saturate all the juices out of what it is that's really there, the substance. It's removed. The passion, the love, the intensity, it's all manufactured to gain your attention. And that, my friends, is not my intention. Nah. Because whether there's one person listening or a million people listening, the words are being said and they hold weight. And with that being said, you don't know how long it's going to be before someone sees you. But I can fathom a world where someone finds your voice 1,000,000 years from now and blasts it for the entire world to hear. For no other reason than you're a timepiece from the past and they found you. And I always approach everything I say as if that is the reality of it. Because the numbers today may be 3-4 people listen to it. 6 million years from now, this may be the only thing they hear. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.